1974, flouting all norms, using the water plants provided by Canada, did its first nuclear test in Pokhran in the backyard of Punjab. The things didn't stop there. In 1998, again, India exploded its nuclear devices in Pokhran, declaring itself as a nuclear power. We, the 30 million Sikhs here, are giving this message that our homeland, Sikh nation, is a sandwich between the two irresponsible nuclear powers, India and Pakistan. And we shouldn't forget that President Clinton, while he started his visit to India in 2000, March 20, 2000, he said that India and Pakistan is the most flashpoint for any nuclear conflict. So it is to be understood that India, under the garb of democracy, on one hand is using its nuclear prowess to cover the neighbors. What happened in Nepal in the last few months, that how India, which has made countries like Sikkim, Bhutan as its subservient states, wanted to do the same with the Nepal. They did the economical blockade of Nepal for 4 or 5 months. Hundreds of people, particularly children, died due to lack of medication, as Nepal, being a landlocked country, is fully dependent on its supplies from India. Not only that, the minorities, the way they have been treated in India, it may be what happened in June 1984, full-fledged Indian army attack on Golden Temple, sanctum of the Sikhs. Then November 84, genocide all over India. And when we see with our minorities, particularly with this bloody butcher Modi in power in 2014, what is happening, that while he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, 50,000 Sikh farmers were dispossessed of their lands, which they developed, cultivated for more than 50 years. This Modi is the same person. While he became the Chief Minister of Gujarat, he cancelled the public holiday of Guru Nanak Sahib's birthday. And since his coming to power, all the RSS outfits, it may be Bajrang Dal, it may be Vishwa Hindu Parishad, it may be Hindu Mahasabha, it may be Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, the way they are treating its minorities, the latest happenings in JNU Delhi, in Telangana, Hyderabad University, and in Punjab particularly, where RSS is spreading its wings, its chief Mohan Bhagwat has said couple of times, repeatedly standing on the soil of Punjab, that by 2020, everybody in India will be a Hindu. And RSS is telling, without mincing words, that the ancestors of all those minorities here were Hindus, and they should come back home, and they have named this campaign as Ghar Wapsi. We as Sikhs, we are a sovereign, distinct people. Until 150 years ago, we had a nation bigger than present-day France, 150,000 square mile territory, extending from Khyber Pass to Tibet, and from Shikarpur, Sindh to the footsteps of Satluj. Britishers took our homeland by deceit, by cheating, by all kind of conspiracies in which Lahore Darbar was involved. In 98 years of British rule in Punjab, it is the Sikhs of Punjab which contributed more than 80% of their warriors, of their martyrs, and those who went to life imprisonments, whose properties were confiscated, and Sikhs were the third party in 1947 partition of India during the Round Table Conferences. We joined Indian Union on the assurances by Gandhi and Nehru that no constitution in India will be accepted which won't be acceptable to the Sikhs. But to our dismay, we found that in the Constituent Assembly representatives even refused to accept Sikhs as a separate religion. Article 25B of Indian Constitution describes Sikhs, Buddhists and Jains as Hindus. Our struggle started right there. Two Sikh representatives in the Constituent Assembly, Bhupinder Singh Maan and Hukam Singh, declared it is betrayal of the Sikhs, it is betrayal of the promises made to the Sikhs. We reject this constitution. The fact of the matter is that de facto we might have been captured in Indian map, but de juris we are not part of India as we have not accepted Indian constitution. Since 1950 to 1984, for almost 7 years after the partition, Sikhs struggled peacefully for simple rights, right of their language to be the state language, their claim on river waters, and so many other issues. But the answer given by Indian government and genuine demand was the Anandpur Sahib resolution, which federal structure, set up in India, in which few portfolios like defense, external affairs, or currency should be common, but in all others, it should be autonomous states, not only Punjab, but this plan was for all states of India. But on June 84, on the day of martyrdom of Guru Arjan Sahib, a full-scale army assault on Golden Temple of the Sikhs, 37 Sikhs was cut off from the rest of the country. There was a complete shutdown of everything, and in over 12,000 villages of Punjab, the massacre, the genocide of the Sikh youth occurred. They gave very fancy names to these operations: Operation Blue Star, Operation Woodrose, Operation Chase, Operation Final Assault. And now what we have seen after that whole generation of Sikh youth was eliminated between 1984 and 1994. And after that, how Punjab was invaded with the drugs, with all kind of vulgar culture in the name of culture, and the way Badals and all their cronies were brought into power, and the way even today the Punjab is under Indian Army jackboot is very clear that after the desecration of Guru Granth Sahib in many places, including Bargadi and other places, when Sikhs protested, how they were fired upon in Bahbal Kala, where two Sikhs, Gurjot Singh and Krishan Bhagwan Singh, were killed and dozens wounded. And Justice Markandeya Karchu Commission, who held a public hearing on that, has issued its report 2 days ago, in which it is very clearly said that the firing was unprovoked, and SSP Charanjit Sharma ordered firing after getting a phone call. And guess who made that phone call? The Sumed Saini, that butcher who killed thousands of Sikh youngsters in fake staged encounters. Punjab is under Indian Army jackboot, and the way Indian government has spread its tentacles outside, as in today's protest, the lead is by Sikhs for Justice. I want to congratulate all the activists of Sikhs for Justice that how diligently they have worked in the past year to bring many victories to the Sikh Panth, and latest victory is of Bhai Paramjit Singh Pamma. The way he was to be extradited by India from Portugal, it is Sikhs for Justice and all the fellow organizations and 30 million Sikh nation which worked hard, gave a defeat to the Indian state, and Bhai Paramjit Singh Pamma is today back with his family safely in England. But my brothers and sisters, it is a one baby step of victory. Our destination, our manzile maqsood, our determination to reach our goal is very clear. We want an independent sovereign nation between river Jamuna and border of Wagah, which is our homeland, which is our fatherland, which is our motherland, which is the land for which Khalsa has shed its blood for more than 3 centuries. We liberated this land from Mughals, Afghans, British colonials, and our struggle for complete independence and Sikh for Justice has given a call for referendum 2020. It's very clear. What we are talking here is as per international laws. What we are asking for is as per United Nations Charter of Human Rights, and it is very clear. If in the past years, new countries has emerged like South Sudan, Kosovo, Macedonia. Before that, how in the last 30, 40 years, 50 plus new nations have emerged. Soviet Union collapsed, 15 new nations emerged, and why not? Sikhs should have the same right under the UN Charter to have an independent country of their own, which they had until 1849. So very clearly, Modi, who is an embodiment of terrorism. Yesterday, 2 days ago, he was in Brussels, and he, addressing the Indian committee, said, United Nations have not been able to define even who is a terrorist and what is terrorism. And I said in one of my programs on TV84 in such or such that yes, this man should be made to stand in front of the United Nations headquarters hanged like a jackal, and the world should know what is a terrorist, how to define terrorism. This is the man whose hands are smeared with the blood of thousands of innocent Muslims who were massacred in 2002. This is the man who threw 50,000 Sikh farmers out of their lands. This is the man, while after becoming Prime Minister, what kind of messages he gave that today India is on the verge of kind of civil war. The academicians are not safe. They are returning their awards. There is no freedom of expression. 2 days ago, there was a function in Delhi which was addressed by Mr. Prannoy Roy, who is the co-founder of NDTV, one of the leading TV channels, which is criticizing Modi's actions. It has been imposed 350 crore of fine. And Mr. Prannoy Roy said that India today is passing through that period as was in the 1950s in England, which is called McCarthyism. During the McCarthy era in the United States, one slogan was given that there is red under every bed, meaning thereby that it was a hunt for communists, that whoever was to be eliminated or imprisoned, it used to be said in the McCarthyism era that he is a communist. And then Mr. Prannoy Roy went further and said today in India, McCarthyism is that there is a seditious bug under every rug. It means they are catching people by saying, say Bharat Mata ki Jai, say this, say that, say cow is our mother. If you don't, then you will be lynched, you will be killed, you will be put under sedition charges. And that is what happened to the Sikhs in Punjab in the Sarbat Khalsa gathering, which was exclusively a peaceful gathering of the Sikhs to tackle their religious issues. How the managers or the organizers of Sarbat Khalsa were sapped with the sedition charges, how they were dishonored, how they were made to be thrown behind bars. Today, the world may not be listening to us, but world will listen to us. And I often say, in the 1930s, while things were happening in Germany, Nazi Germany, one priest said they came after a Catholic. I was silent as I was not a Catholic. They came after a civil libertarian. I was silent as I was not the one. They came after a communist. I was silent as I was not a communist. Then they came after me, and nobody was left to speak for me. 1,300,000,000 people are suffering, and the slogan is Hindu, Hindi, Hindustan. If you want to live here, declare yourselves as Hindus, declare Hindu gods as your own, even accept so-called Bharat Mata as the mother and worship it like a Hindu goddess. Otherwise, you have no right. You will be killed, you will be maimed, you will be thrown behind bars. And even it's very clearly said that leave the country if you don't believe in these things. And today, 4 million Sikh diaspora, who is outside the map of India, who know that what freedom is, who know what is the value of freedom, have taken this standard of Khalistan, this standard of liberating our people from the Indian army yoke in Punjab. And Sikhs for Justice, along with other organizations, have been protesting time to time. This is a symbolic protest now. On the next 9th April, on Saturday, thousands of Sikhs from all over United States and Canada will be marching on the Capitol Hill to give a clear message that you, the decision makers, you, the opinion makers, you, the lawmakers, listen very clearly to us. 30 million Sikhs want nation of their own. Their homeland must be liberated, and we won't rest until our fatherland, our motherland, our over 25 million people in that Punjab, Indian occupied Punjab, are liberated. Let, with the resolve, with the determination, and I want to give this message to other brothers and sisters as well, those who are protesting against the country's recessive, regressive and repressive regimes, very clearly, as Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is the threat to justice everywhere. And we all are brothers in arms, as we all together have to fight the repression. This planet of 7 billion people won't rest in peace until unless there is justice. Peace without justice has no meaning, and these are the most pseudo-speaks of the world. They talk of Satyamev Jayate, victory to the truth. They talk of Gandhi's Ahimsa Paramo Dharma, but they are the most recessive regimes which has barred Amnesty International from India for years, which hasn't allowed Human Rights Watch to visit India. And lately, just 3 weeks ago, United States Commission on International Religious Freedom, whose delegation wanted to visit India, they were denied visa to visit India. If India is denying USF delegation to visit India, what India has to hide? It should be very clear that India, in the garb of democracy, is the most recessive regime on this planet. It may be communists, it may be dictators, it may be aristocrats, and world one day will repent that the way they ignored Nazis in the early 1930s, the same way they are ignoring India, they are letting it go just in the name of democracy. That is a very clear message. And let my brothers and sisters, I'll shout few slogans, and with the full volume of your voice, we have to give the message, India out of! Khalistan! India out of! Khalistan! India out of! Khalistan! India out of! Khalistan! Who is the butcher? Modi! Who is the butcher? Modi! Who is the butcher? Modi! Who is the guilty? Modi! Who is the guilty? Modi! Who is the terrorist? Modi! Who is the terrorist? Modi! Who is the terrorist? Modi! Up, up! Khalistan! Up, up! Khalistan! Up, up! Khalistan! Shame, shame! Shame, shame! India! Shame, shame! India! Up, up! Khalistan! Up, up! Khalistan! Up, up! Khalistan! India out of! 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 Khalistan! Butcher Modi, go back! Butcher Modi, go back! Butcher Modi, go back! Butcher Modi, go back! Killer Modi, go back! Killer Modi, go back! Terrorist Modi, go back! Terrorist Modi, go back! Terrorist Modi, go back! India out of! Khalistan! India out of! Khalistan! India out of! Khalistan! Who is the terrorist? Modi! Who is the terrorist? Modi! Who is the terrorist? Modi! Who is the guilty? Modi! Who is the guilty? Modi! Who is the butcher? Modi! Who is the butcher? Modi! वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।